What's up, traders? Welcome back to another market analysis, another market outlook. So we're going to be covering from the 31st to the 5th. Okay, so it's going to be a new month. We're going into August, guys. I believe we do have news coming up. Yeah, we got NFP coming up at the end of this week. You guys know it's always the first week of the month, so we got a lot of news this week. Towards the end of the week, we're going to have a lot of USD news, but you guys can see in the beginning of the week we have, some odd news, NZD news, and we have a lot of pound news on Thursday as well. Monday is probably going to be a little bit of a slow day, so dealing with the CHF and the CAD. So just look out for that. We got some news on the USD, so we might see a little bit of movement, but nothing too crazy on Monday. Monday's not usually too crazy. It's once we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like these three right here are the core days which you should expect a lot of movement. And then of course we got NFP, so Friday is going to be something as well. All right, so yeah, that's the volatility for the week, right? So you guys know how we look at the news. We use the news for volatility. We're not trying to actually trade what these numbers are saying. We don't care about what these numbers are saying, guys, because the market's going to end up going back to what it wants to do anyways. All right, so anyways, jumping straight into it, before I jump right into Euro USD, let's talk about DXY a little bit. The reason why I talk about DXY, guys, because if we know what DXY is doing, we can easily tell what Euro USD is doing. They're the opposite of each other, so it's pretty simple. All right, so essentially we are still bullish on DXY. I haven't seen anything changed yet. We're still within this bullish order flow here from this low to this high. All right, that's all we need to know. So essentially what we're seeing right now is a retracement. We can see some type of supplies getting into the market. We have distribution, we have another redistribution, we have another redistribution that just occurred here. Now the last thing that the market has done was mitigate this huge manipulation right here, and you can see we're coming back to the downside. So we're going to see probably some more down movement on the DXY, maybe to come and approach this reaccumulation zone, this demand area right here. Overall, I just want to see us come inside of this area more and possibly just give us another move towards the upside. That'd be the most logical thing to do if we're going to continue going on this bullish trend. Euro USD was already bearish, and we're seeing this retracement. Of course, I talked about this possible reversal that's going to happen. I mean, essentially our order flow leg is all the way up here. So honestly, until we break this high, I mean, I'm still completely bearish on this. I just want us to come back inside of this supply area. This is really where I'm looking to sell the market. This is where I'm really waiting for the market to go to. So unless we create like new supply here, meaning we just get a manipulation of these highs and then break some structure, then I will sell from here. Until then, my next major area to sell Euro USD is going to have to be up here. It's not going to be anywhere else. All right, so that is the reason why I was looking for some hedge buys, hedge scalp buys while the market is going towards the upside. Okay, so because DXY might continue a little bit lower before we see any big buying pressure, then that means Euro USD might continue higher before we see any big selling pressure. Okay, so essentially short-term buys for long-term sales. Okay, we have a lot of supply that this market could come back into, and like I said before, understand like this market is super low right now, so this could be setting up to be a longer term reversal, maybe to get us back into higher areas, possibly. We don't know. That's too early to say right now. So for now, we're just going to be playing this low term and this short term analysis that this market has going on right now. Okay, now moving on to GU, it has already approached its supply zone, which we're looking for. So as you guys know, this high right here is holding our order flow to the downside, and essentially what we have seen recently is that GU has been able to come back into its main supply. All right, so since we have done that, and you guys can see the reaction that we got from this area, that tells you how much selling pressure there was here. We got a huge sell to the downside. After that, you can see that this market has recovered pretty well, and that is the problem here. Because we have recovered pretty well, this could turn out to be a long-term distribution, or this just might not be the sell at all, and we could continue higher and sell from higher areas over here. Okay, so we're going to be on the lookout for that, but because we are in a supply zone, I am looking for sales. So I'm just going to be looking for this market to show me evidence that it wants to sell. For right now, I can look for distribution inside of this zone to continue us lower, right? If not, and if we go back up here and break this, then we're gonna have to see some smaller time frame distribution. We're gonna have to see some type of selling pressure that tells us this market actually wants to sell. Because I mean, just looking at the momentum, guys, you see it took 3 candles for us to, you know, actually break this low, and then afterwards you see 1 candle almost engulfed like 3 candles, right? And this is on like the hour time frame, so that means, you know what I'm saying, this could be a possible manipulation. So we're just gonna be on the lookout for that. All right, guys, so moving on to AUD USD, and you guys can see it's kind of like the same kind of pattern over and over again. We have short-term buying that's going on. Now, recently, we have invalidated this low last week on Friday, and I can see that we did tap into a decent area. This was a huge manipulation here, but again, like the same thing with GU, this market came back too fast. Okay, it's like 1 candle almost engulfed 3 candles, so we have to be careful about that. And I'll just have to see whether or not this area is going to be able to hold up for us to continue lower or not. If not, that's okay. We have a bigger area, a more important area that this market could come up to, which is this right here. Okay, so we're just gonna have to be patient, and we're gonna have to see whether or not this area right here that created this huge move to the downside, which caused a change of character, we're gonna have to see whether or not that can hold. All right, I mean, as you guys know, UJ has been bullish forever. Okay, UJ has been bullish forever. Now, we recently had this huge reaccumulation that happened here. It was a huge demand zone, and I believe about like a month ago I told you guys that I was looking for this market to trade with inside of this manipulation candle. Now, since then, we just have continued higher, and now we're coming back, and now we're trading and mitigating this manipulation. So I'm looking for 1 or 2 things. I'm looking for us to either get more continuation, so the upside, so just looking for more buy opportunities going higher, or if I see that we struggle to buy from here, this market could potentially just redistribute like this and continue lower, maybe getting us back into this huge area here. Because I mean, we can see that this is a higher time frame little trend, right? So we have like this smaller trend that's here, and then we have like a higher area and a higher trend, because all you can see is this is just a continuation move, and you can see like down here we actually had some type of accumulation that occurred. So we could really consider this right here as a major area, or like a good origin for the market to come back into. So it would make sense if we do continue lower to get back into this price action. All right, so we just have to see what this market wants to do. Now, like I said, you guys already see the ways I'm going to play this. Either we're going to see this market gives us some obvious buying opportunities and we can go higher, and that's no problem, right? We want that because UJ has been so bullish. So unless we get like an obvious sell, then I'm not going to be looking for sales. Okay, pretty simple, guys. I mean, the more I zoom out, the more you see how bullish this market has just been. So it's pretty stupid to sell against it, but we'll just have to see how we play around in this area. So moving on to USHEF, guys. Last week I explained to you guys why I am starting to look for sales on USHEF. Since then, we have been creating supply, mitigating, supply, mitigating, supply, mitigating, right? So there is no reason for me to not look for sales right now after we're just getting this huge supply train with mitigations. Okay, and I have been sending this out in the free Telegram as well. So, you know, for those of you who actually have some knowledge of how to take these entries and know how to get yourself positioned in these trades, then all you have to do is look out for these areas. And once the market hits these areas, you just look for that opportunity to get into a sell. So honestly, I'm just waiting for us to break this low. Once we break this low, this right here will be my new like huge manipulation zone. Once the market comes back up here, we get a distribution down, and then we sell it even more. Okay, we sell it even more. Now we are targeting this huge area of demand. All right, that's where I see USHEF coming into. That's going to be our major area that we're going to see some actual buying pressure come out of. Okay, guys, super simple. There's not really a lot to talk about on USHEF, so we're just going to leave it there. Now, moving on to UCAD. UCAD has been a little bit similar, but it's a little bit more complex on UCAD, and I'm going to tell you why. All right, so essentially, we have a high here that made a low. We have a high here that made a low, we have this redistribution right here. So basically what this is this here is still considered one move towards the downside. Okay, it can still be considered one move towards the downside because we haven't seen no valid retracement to distribute. We're seeing redistributions. Okay, now that could be a little bit confusing, but for those of you who understand what I mean, then you'll know. So, but that's not even the point. So the point is, the way that UCAD is giving us this selling pressure right now, we seem like we are slowing down. Okay, so the reason why I say this is because UCAD could potentially come out with this and do this, right? Why? Because this huge manipulation still has not been mitigated. All right, so I'm just trying to get you guys the overall view of what could happen on UCAD, because I mean, I know as soon as people see these highs over here start getting broken, people are going to think, okay, it's time to go back towards the upside, which could not possibly be the case, because you have to understand this high here is what has made this new low. So this is the origin. This whole move is the origin that has created this. This origin has not been touched yet. So this market could potentially come back up here and come and mitigate this origin, and then we could continue down. So while you're playing this lower time frame little trend, whatever's going on here, this little order flow, you could completely be wiped out, and then the market's gonna come up here and sell anyways. So, you know, that's just something to look out for before I just talk about playing this order flow. Now, me, honestly, just by going off that setup and giving you guys that like view, I don't even want to play this order flow. So I'm just going to wait to see. Now, the only way that I'll actually start being interested is if we actually get some moves to the downside. It's just the market is struggling to continue down. So it looks like we're just trying to do this. Okay, that's what it looks like, because I mean, you see this huge manipulation down, and then after that, this market is struggling to continue that huge move down. All right, so that's what I'll be looking for. I'll be looking for some actual evidence of sellers that is showing me that this market actually wants to continue down from here and not go and test the origin yet. All right. All right, so moving on to EG. EG recently last week has broken this structure point right here. So this was the low that created this new high. Now this high is what's going down. So boom, once we break that high, we'll be back bullish, but right now we are bearish. We are bearish on the higher time frame, so we are bearish on all time frames. All right, so cool. Moving on, right? What about the order flow? Well, what does order flow look like? So essentially, guys, we have so many different levels of order flow. This right here is our major order flow from this high to this low. And then we have like so much other order flow inside, okay? But the reason why I'm talking about order flow is because this order flow right now is starting to get invalidated. So what does that mean? That means we could come back up and test some higher areas, okay? Or we could continue higher and test some higher areas. As you guys can see, this distribution right here, after we have distributed, we still have not seen a mitigation of this overall supply zone. So we could see a higher move towards the upside. That's going to give us a bigger distribution to continue lower. All right, guys, so we could see that happen. We could see the market come up here and come and test this overall distribution. And as you guys can see, this right here is what caused this to be broken. This area right here is the technical slingshot of our overall leg, but it is also an order flow leg as well. Okay, so, you know, multi-time frame structure, guys, I mean, you could either get that from, you know, any other channel, just such a multi-time frame structure. You can go check us out. You can check out the ebook out. I explained that in the ebook as well. In the mentorship, you can get that in depth. Whatever the case may be, you have to know multi-time frame structure and try to understand how to play different levels of structure, different levels of order flow. All right. Last but not least, and then we'll probably look at Bitcoin because I haven't seen Bitcoin in a while. ACAD is a little bit different. So ACAD itself, as you guys can see, we are approaching this order flow leg to the downside. Okay, so we're approaching the origin, which is this manipulation right here. Now, honestly, all I'm seeing right here is this looks like a huge reaccumulation. Looks like we just came in here, took out liquidity, and now we're going to continue higher. This reaccumulation could be the reason why we get inside of this huge manipulation. Okay, the reason why I'm predicting that this could potentially be a reaccumulation and this was just a rate of liquidity is simply because back to the manipulation, right? I mean, we have this huge manipulation down, but the problem is you can see how fast the market recovered from that. Okay, if there was some actual bearish pressure from here, there's no way that we're recovering that fast. Okay, so that's what I'm cautious of. Now, of course, I can't just look past the fact that we did break these lows. All right, now if this was more convincing, then we would have been aggressive on these sales, but we're just going to be passive. We're just going to see how the market plays out. You know, maybe Monday we'll see if we absolutely continue to break these highs or we just sell from here. Now, if we do that, then I can confirm that the market actually wants to continue selling. So that's pretty much it, guys. ACAT's pretty simple. Either we're going to sell from here or we're just going to continue higher and come inside of here and sell from here. And even if we do break this high, right, this is what I was talking about with the multi-time frame structure, we're still bearish, right? Because I mean, the more I zoom out, the more you see how much we're inside, you see? So we got this high all the way to this low. You see what I'm talking about? You just have to be able to understand your structure points, to understand how they work, guys. All right, but of course, you guys know we like to play reversals as well. So if this ends up being a huge reversal that leads us back into here, then I mean, once we break some of these highs, we'll just take hedge opportunities towards the upside. We'll just hedge it towards the upside. We always do that, okay, guys? Just you have to understand how to hedge. All right, when you understand multi-time frame structure, it gives you the opportunity to hedge more and be able to catch both sides of the market. So that's one thing. Now let me go ahead and look at some crypto. Now this market could potentially continue in going towards the upside, but even if we do that, we're targeting here. All right, we're gonna target this area, which is our last supply. The only way that I'll say like this is it is if we just fly towards the upside and start invalidating these areas. All right, that's the only way we can confirm that. Right now, I can't confirm that because we haven't seen any manipulation. We haven't seen any actual accumulation. This is just looking like a simple pullback. A simple pullback, guys. Now, I mean, what could happen is, since this is liquidity down here, if we raid these lows, then okay, that's more promising, right? That's more promising. We get a mitigation, we continue higher. That's more promising. But this, whatever this is not more promising. So we'll just have to see. We'll have to see how Bitcoin handles this area. The 20,000 area is, you know, a huge psychological area for this market. So I mean, we'll just have to sit back and see how this market plays. All right, guys. So that's pretty much it for this market analysis. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.